Man after my own heart. Bust that whammy bar. I just feel it's got girth. Very nice. Well, anyway, make believe this has 6 strings on it. Okay, so I was trying to figure out what I can do to a standard Strat-style guitar that would suit my style, my ever-changing style. And the first thing that I thought was, I definitely want 24 frets. So there was this little guitar shop in Hollywood called Performance Guitar. And I went down there. Well, the first thing I wanted was a sexier body. I needed a sexier body. And, because the Strat was cool, but it was just a little pedestrian, you know? So I told the guy down there, take this body, give it a little more angles, give it a little more shape, you know, give it a little more savoir-faire. And I also asked him to make a big cutaway here so that my big hands can get way up high on the neck, because I could never understand why you'd play these guitars with all these frets, but you could never really get up there without, you know, being clumsy. So it was just practical. Everything about the guitar was practical. And then the pickup configuration was completely unique at the time. There was nothing that I had seen at the time that had anything like it, because it had 2 humbuckers. I know for some of you it's like, you know, what's a humbucker? But it's a big fat sounding pickup. And what I liked about the Strat, though, was that single coil sound that you get when you have 2 single coils turned on. So I said, well, why don't we do this where you can flip this switch here and have 2 single coil pickups, so it would split the coil in this pickup when you're in this position, and same thing in this position. So it was the best of all worlds, you know, and it was just a kind of a practical desire that turned into reality. And then, what else? I didn't need 2 tone controls. I got rid of one. And then came the whammy bar. Now, at the time, Floyd Rose tremolo systems were very new, and no one was making floating systems. And that means that, you know, where the notes can go sharp, you know, and also flat. So I was looking at the system and I said, well, what's stopping the note from going sharp, you know? And I said, well, it's just a block of wood. So I took a screwdriver and a hammer, and I just started banging out the wood, you know, chips flying everywhere, you know? And next thing you know, I had a floating tremolo system. And that became standard for the time. And what else? Just like practical things like the input jack. Every guitar had an input jack here, like a Les Paul, so when you step on the cable comes out. Or it had it here. And if you step on the cable comes out. And I'm like, why? You know, just put it here and you can't pull it out. So, stupid practical design that turned out to work really well. And what else?
Monkey grip.
Well, I didn't get there yet. Yeah. So then I thought, okay. And I said, then all these companies wanted to make this guitar for me. Well, they wanted me to play their guitar. And I said, well, I'll tell you what. You make this guitar. And whoever makes the best guitar, that's the one I'll play. And every company made me a guitar. I mean, there's companies that aren't even around right now that made me a guitar. Hands down, unequivocally, beyond a shadow of a doubt, Ibanez delivered the most spectacular instrument. It hasn't changed since. Everybody else sucked. And what I mean by that is they just didn't follow what I wanted. They just, you know, which is, you know, fine, it's what they wanted, but Ibanez gave me the guitar of my dreams. And that's the guitar I've been playing. I have no real desire to play any other guitar. I do, but I always go back to the Gem because it really suits my playing style. And then at the last minute, when they made me this guitar, they said, well, Steve, we'd like to put this guitar into production. And I thought, who else would want to play this guitar? It's so weird, you know? Because at the last minute, I thought, what else can I do to this guitar to make it so unique that I know in the future, when if anybody starts ripping it off, they're just not going to be able to rip it off. And I thought, I got it. Put a monkey grip handle in it, which this one doesn't have. This is the 7-string, but you know, the Gems have that monkey grip. And really, I did it originally so that when I was posing in photos, I can hold the guitar like this, more like this. That was one of the reasons. And they did it. And they gave me this guitar, and it was brilliant. And 77,000 777 gems later, here we are today.
Wow.
So what we usually do is, although primarily the guitar remains the same, there's little permeations we do in the way it looks, and or if there's an anniversary, like a 10th anniversary or a 20th anniversary, we always try to do something interesting to the guitar. Well, this year, actually, if you look back there, you'll see a floral pattern gem. That's a pretty old guitar. It's probably about close to 20 years old now, I guess. The idea for that originated with the curtains that my wife picked that are in our house. I looked at them, I said, man, I really love those curtains. Can't we, like, use that in a guitar? And I brought it to Ibanez, and he said, we sure can, Steve. And there it is. And that guitar is it was so well received, it's gorgeous. And it sounds, to me, it's one of the best sounding gems that we ever made. I think it might have something to do with the fact that there's fabric in there, It does something to the sound. But, it ran its course, and it sold itself out. And then, 20 years later, they came to me and they said, that floral pattern gem was a really good seller, and it was a beautiful guitar. Why don't we revisit that? So I thought, well, let's try it. And I went out and I looked at tons and tons of swatches. I didn't really have any interesting curtains at the time. So I was looking at all these swatches to pick a fabric that I thought would look really cool on a guitar. And here it is.
Boy.
Yeah. Woo!
And every one of them is unique. And this guitar is going to be available, I think, in a couple of months. I think it's going to be showing at the Frankfurt Mesa show. I am so happy with the way this turned out. To me, it's gorgeous. When I see this guitar, I get wood. Sorry, I'm from New York. Anyway, so this is the new guitar, and this is the gem, and I am so thrilled to be here at this Jemfest, and I hope to see you guys next year. Thanks for coming, and get ready for Rob Balducci.
Thanks, everyone. We got Rob coming up. Give us a couple minutes to fire up his amp. And thanks, everyone. I really appreciate everything.